Friday evening, everyone. I'm Eburnett, and out front tonight, answers on Benghazi. Nearly 8 months after the attack on the American consulate killed 4 Americans, including the U.S. ambassador to Libya, Chris Stevens, no one has been brought to justice. Crucial questions still remain. Today, Vice President Joe Biden joined Secretary of State John Kerry to honor those who were killed on the attack on September 11th, unveiling their names inscribed on a wall at the State Department.
Ed, I wish we didn't need a wall like this. I wish I could tell all of you and all of you brilliant young State Department personnel up there, I wish I could tell you we're not going to add any more names to this wall. I wish I could say that with certainty. But the truth of the matter is, there will be more. There will be more. But with God's guidance and a little bit of luck, there'll be fewer.
A little bit of luck. Are we relying too heavily on luck? Are we any closer to holding someone accountable for the American lives lost? Pentagon correspondent Chris Lawrence has an out-front investigation.
The State Department is honoring the 4 Americans killed in Benghazi.
It's a hard day. It's a day that brings back pain.
But just this week, the White House called it ancient history.
But let's be clear. Benghazi happened a long time ago.
The mission was attacked on September 11th, less than 8 months ago. The FBI is still searching for the attackers and just released this video in Arabic. It's an appeal for the public to help find 3 men who were at the mission when it was attacked.
How confident are you that putting out these pictures is really going to pay off?
It's worth a shot. They're not exactly high-fidelity pictures. I'm not sure it's going to help that much. They look like a lot of people running around the world.
Steve Bucci is a former Pentagon official and retired Special Forces officer. He fears the trail to find the attackers may have grown cold. A Tunisian man was arrested, then released for insufficient evidence. The FBI interviewed a man detained by Libyan authorities. And sources tell CNN Western intelligence agencies now believe 3 al-Qaeda operatives from Yemen were involved in the Benghazi attack.
Are you confident in how the Obama administration has handled Benghazi before, during, and after?
No, I'm not. I'm not one of those people that are going to scream cover up and conspiracy and all that stuff. It's just we don't have all the information yet.
And Chris, watching your report, there's obviously so much frustration by a lot of people. Are there any leads, though, when someone there was talking about how the trail may have gone cold? Are there leads on finding those operatives that they now say could have been involved from al-Qaeda in Yemen?
Well, our intelligence sources are telling us that they did trace them to northern Mali, but there the trail went cold. Aaron, you did a ton of reporting right here on this show a few months back on the French offensive in Mali. Well, one of the byproducts of that was it drove a lot of the militants out and created sort of a chaotic situation. Look, if these militants just happen to be in Benghazi and join in the attack afterwards, that's one thing. But if they were dispatched by AQIP thousands of miles away, that shows a significant area and level of coordination. Aaron?
Significant level of coordination, which is perhaps more than anybody thought could have been possible. Chris Lawrence, thank you very much with that investigation tonight. Out front now, Bob Baer, CNN contributor and a former operative with the CIA, and retired Army General James Spider Marks, also a CNN contributor. General Marks, let me start with you. 8 months since Benghazi, the administration just this week put out some photographs of people that they thought might have information, and also said, look, we think that these 3 men who were there that night and stayed for a couple days may have been partly responsible. Is this the way it should go, or is this too little too late?
Well, I think it's way too late. I don't know that it's too little. Let's look at history a little bit. 8 months is a long time. We had a reward out for information about Saddam. We had a reward out for information about Osama bin Laden. And within 48 hours, we had very good HD pictures of the Tsarnaev brothers and information in APB, an all-points bulletin, if you will. And within about 12 to 15 hours, we started to round those guys up. It's been 8 months, and we haven't gotten anything in terms of the murder of a U.S. ambassador and 3 other great Americans. So I think it's very, very slow. Something must be up, and certainly we can discuss what those possible possibilities are.
Well, I want to ask you about that. And Bob, let me ask you about this, though, to the point that Spider's making about how much time has passed. It was within 24 hours that the CIA said, look, we intercepted a phone call from al-Qaeda-linked operatives in Libya who were calling somebody saying, and the person was saying, Mabruk, Mabruk, congratulations in Arabic. It turns out that person was Mokhtar Belmokhtar, who we became familiar with when we were covering the Mali story this summer. But if they knew all that then, and those guys spent a few more days in Libya, why didn't they find them then?
Oh, Aaron, I think the problem with Libya is it's a mess. I mean, it's getting worse by the day. You've got numerous jihadi groups, Salafi groups, they don't even know who they are all over the country. They're training. The central authority in Tripoli is limited to a few square blocks. Benghazi camps all over. It is such a mess in Libya. It's never really been able to form a central government. And in any of these investigations, you need the local police, local intelligence services to go to check out leads, make arrests. We just don't have them.
What do you think about that, General? I mean, that this is, you know, perhaps not mistakes that were made, but just an impossible situation.
Well, it's not impossible. I would totally agree with Bob in that it's completely chaotic in Libya. And under those circumstances of chaos, I mean, you've got to drop a lid down on it, and the United States has to walk in and start doing its really strong investigative work. And we had leads early on in why they went dry or why they ended up into cul-de-sacs, if you will, and we get to the bottom of it. We have to do an about-face and come back out. I mean, there might have been, I'm not sure that there's any evidence that we're aware of, but we know that #1 mission was to try to round up surface-to-air missiles. Maybe there was an SA-7 buyback program. I don't know that. I'm not suggesting there was an Iran-Contra type of a deal, but there might have been, and the United States has to really dig at that, and the investigation has taken quite some time to try to uncover some of this information. We've got to get it out to the light of day, and hopefully that'll happen this week.
And Bob, obviously, you know, Republicans are holding hearings now. House Oversight Committee going to be holding one next week. You know, they're continuing to put the pressure on politically on the president to try to find out who did this. But from what you're saying, Bob, do you think they're ever going to be able to find who really did it or not?
You know, I don't think so. This isn't like the Boston bombing. It's not even like 9/11. You know, I've worked the Libyan target before, and it is really hard because it's a tribal country. There's so many factions, and the fact is we can't get people on the ground to follow up these leads, as General Mark said. It would be great if we could, but we just can't. It's too dangerous.
All right, well, thank you both very much. We appreciate it, and all of our viewers. We know a lot of you have strong opinions on this. Please let us know on Twitter. We're going to be covering this next week as those hearings go on in Washington.